get you some lyrics. Who needs lyrics? Okay. As our friends come in, we're going to start by singing "Let Us Build a House."
A place where saints and children tell how hearts learn to forgive. Built of hopes and dreams and visions, rock of faith and vault of grace. Here the love of Christ, love and division, all are welcome. All are welcome, all are welcome in this place. Let us build a house where love is found, and water, wine, and wheat. A banquet hall, holy ground, where peace and justice meet. Build the love of God through Jesus. All are welcome, all are welcome, all are welcome in this place. Let us build a house where all are named, where songs and visions heard, where love and all are great, all fields of tears and cries and laughter, prayers of faith and songs of praise. Let this house proclaim from floor to rafter, all are welcome, all are welcome, all are welcome in this place.
Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you for coming back. Good morning. Again. Call to order this meeting, but I want us to pray together the prayer for vestries, which we're adapting for the prayer for this parish. It's at the top of your agenda. Lord, you called the disciples to put their nets into deep water, to reach new depths as you stood beside them. Be with us now as we continue that mission in all we do as a parish. Fill us with your spirit. Help us to know that we are only rowing the boat, not steering it. Lift up our sails with the breath of the Holy Spirit and our souls with the peace that only you can give. Remind us that the whole communion of saints encircles and upholds us. Ours is but a mission for a short time, Lord. So help us to do our work faithfully and joyfully, knowing that we will be guided by your love if we only say the word. Come, Lord Jesus, come. Amen. Thank you so much. Thank you, Adam, for the music to help us all get settled in here together and remember what we're about in building this house of love in God's name. You have before you the annual meeting minutes from last year, which are actually the annual meeting minutes 2024. Just FYI, so we can make that little amendment. It's for the 2024 year, right? But it's done in the next year. So these will be the annual meeting minutes today that Katrina's taking for 2025. I know, it's crazy. Hope you've had a chance to look at these. I hope these are the minutes of the meeting you remember attending last year. only been 365 days or so. Could I have a motion to accept these minutes? So moved, and I see it is seconded as well. Is there any discussion, or are we ready to vote? All in favor, please signal by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed or abstentions? Okay, thank you all so very much. Off and running, great practice. Now, I hope you picked up the vestry and delegate packet. Beautiful. Cinda, would you like to introduce our nominees? You can. And if the nominees could come forward as their names are read, please.
Jeff Carson.
They need your light. For the people at home, they need your light.
Joseph A. Rodenheiser. And J.B. Scranton. Could you all come forward if you would, please? Those are the delegates for the Diocesan Convention. Okay.
Everyone at home can see you today.
Do we want to have a motion to approve them, or you want to do them all at the same time? Okay, now the vestry candidates. Katrina Brown Hunt, Donald R. Phipps, Martha King, and Brian Lynch.
We take a moment to thank these dear souls for their willingness to serve. And could I have a motion, since this is an uncontested slate, that we vote by acclamation?
Make a motion, we vote by acclamation.
Is it seconded? It is seconded. All in favor of voting by acclamation, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. All in favor of electing these dear souls to these roles, please signal by saying hip, hip, hooray.
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 Any opposed or abstentions? Congratulations and thank you. Yep. All right. Thank you so much. Beautiful. For those who are curious, Katrina was filling a one-year term vacated by Joseph Rodenheiser because he couldn't both be married to Reverend Madeline and be on vestry at the same time. And so Katrina now gets to serve her own full term. Woo! And one of the ways that our ministry has really reached out beyond our walls, and we've had a chance to meet more children of God searching for what we offer here in Christ at St. Peter's, is through our communications ministry. So I have asked Catherine to give an extra special report today. Catherine, thank you for being here on a Sunday morning and for all that you do in this communications ministry. Over to you.
Hello. And now we do technology. And pray that it works. Hey! It worked. I'm tempted to, yeah, exactly. I'm tempted to ask you to say hip hip hooray, but I won't. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Catherine Lillick, and you may recognize me if you were here during the pandemic. You saw my face a lot on Zoom as a soprano section leader before I transitioned to communications director. So I'm going to be brief because it's a Sunday morning. So we're going to talk a little bit about what we're doing here on social media and why it matters, and show you a little bit of our upcoming plans. So my favorite highlight from this year was one of Madeline's reels. One of the things I do is I take segments of the sermon each week and I make it into little tiny short form videos that I then upload to all of the places that like short form videos. And this past year, the diocese actually shared one of Madeline's clips to their stories, which was really exciting. So I thought that was cool. And this is just a photo from the highest viewed video, which was a quote from Isaiah 11:6, which I thought was pretty neat near the end of last year. So the three channels we're focusing most on are Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. The reason for that is they're big. While we do have a presence on other channels, it's not usually wise to try to spread yourself too thin and be everywhere at once. And also, I am one human, and I can only do what I can do. So these are the three biggest channels out there. And if you want to, take out your cell phones. Seriously, take out your cell phones. If you have any of these apps on your phone, if you don't stress, it's okay. Go follow us on Facebook and Instagram, unless you already do, and subscribe on YouTube. You guys are probably already doing that because you're the people that are here. So, but you can also like the posts and share the posts and send them to your friends. This is actually really important. And I think one of the things that was new for me about social media, because full disclosure, I was a total Luddite. I did not get on social media until 2020. Okay, so I feel you as a personal move. But one of the things that's really important is when you see these buttons for liking and sharing, you don't actually have to personally like it. I mean, I hope you do, but it's really just an indication that this is something you support. That's really all it is. So it's not like you need to be, oh, this is 150%. I mean, again, I hope it is. But even if it's like, this is 85% what I like, still like it and share it with your friends. All right, that's my spiel for following us on our channels. So some of our goals for last year were to, yes, there's our lovely friends, was to just generally increase number of followers and engagement. Engagement is just a fancy term for likes and follows and shares and interactions, expanding our awareness online and increasing the traffic. So these are all kind of just real baseline goals while we're still growing. And we did pretty well. So for Facebook, we had 67 new followers, which is exciting, which is a conversion rate of about 1.2%, which I know feels low, but because remember, we're talking to like a whole globe of people. You'll see I put in the paid average conversion rate is 2 to 4%. So that's people that are paying for advertising to get attention. And for us, it was all organic. So this was not paid. So we're almost already matching what other people would get in a paid capacity, which I think is really neat. Similarly on Instagram, where conversion rate is really good, it's 9.9%. So Instagram is a big fan of the short form content, those little short videos that are under a minute that we've been doing with the sermons. And so that's one thing we've been really pushing. And I'll say this, even though it's a 2026 thing, and you'll probably hear about it next year, but one of Mother Page's reels got over 10,000 views. Yeah, so that was really exciting. The little short videos are called reels, by the way, just in case that was a new term for you. YouTube, we track a little bit differently. We had 61 new followers, and the click-through rate is the rate at which people see a thing and click on it. So somewhat self-explanatory. 3.5% is pretty much industry standard. It's right there in the middle, which is 1 to 5% is usually the kind of range that you can expect for a church of this size. And then I know you think like these percentages feel really low if you're used to dealing with much larger numbers. But again, when you're addressing a whole globe of people, one of the things you're trying to do is actually get those numbers down a little bit so that you can get a higher percentage rate of people that you're reaching that are interested in what you're doing. So upcoming plans include doing more short form content because the internet likes it. That thing called the algorithm that decides all of the various things, I see some of you nodding, is really fond of the short form video content, which means when we put it up there on the internet goes, ooh, I like this. I'm going to show it to more people. Oh, did it go?
It's back there.
Oh, okay. All right, good. And then a new thing, which was as a nonprofit, we get a Google Ads grant of $10,000 per month to use on Google Ads. So that was something I discovered late last year and just barely started using it. So there's not really any data from that as of yet. But plans for this year include expanding the type of ads so that when people search for a church near me in Del Mar, we come up before other, I mean, we do come up, but we come up like, you know, for all different kinds of things. Or if they're searching for, stay connected, please, pretty please. There we go. Okay. Just don't move. I'll just stand here and hold it. No, it's good. When people, or if they're searching for a grief group, then we have a grief group that would come up. So just another way of telling the community that's nearby what we have to offer. And then the last goal is to get a nonprofit status on other forms of social media like Facebook, and I have to check into Instagram, but Facebook and YouTube also have nonprofit status that you can get, which allows you to do things like fundraise directly through those channels for various things. Potentially could be good for something like outreach, which you're going to hear about in a minute. You know, we could set up things like a giving jar online kind of thing. So those are the goals that we have for this coming year. And lastly, we have a wee tutorial on QR codes. So if QR codes are scary to you, I invite you now to take out your phone again. Seriously, take out your phone. And you're going to open the camera and you're going to point it at the screen. And God, I hope this is big enough. Yay. And you will find that it takes you to the sign-up page for donuts and coffee. So if QR codes are scary, I know we have a bunch of them in the bulletin. We're working on making those more beautiful so that they are less confusing. You'll see this one has a little donut in the middle.
They all have definitions.
They do. They do. We're just adding more ways of making it beautiful and understandable. So yeah, any questions? Can I take questions for like 2 seconds? Yes.
I have a question.
Yeah.
You didn't talk about security in any of this.
Mm.
And I know in industry, that's a big thing, you know, like in people's lives. And in people's lives, it's also a big thing. Are we, do we track hacking attempts? Have we been hacked? And do we have firewalls appropriate for this type of arrangement?
So there aren't necessarily firewalls available for social media, at least not as far as I'm aware, but we have not been hacked on our website or any of the other things. There are pretty good things in place that cover that naturally come with our website subscription. And is there other like specific security measures? I mean, we do track like phishing attempts, and you'll notice we usually send out an email if somebody is trying to impersonate Mother Page and ask you for money. She will never do that, just FYI. She's not going to email you and ask you to go to Walmart, iPhone gift cards, anything like that. So that's honestly the main right now. And one of the things we've done to try to mitigate that is not have emails posted anywhere online, except for like the office one, because it's already kind of out there. And people don't tend to try to impersonate generic ones. So that's kind of a safer one to have available for communication. The way that you communicate, if you don't have any of the information like that's in the bulletin, is through the website. Everybody has their own form that goes directly to their email that you can find on their page on the website. And so that's one of the ways that we're helping to get rid of the phishing, or at least get less of the phishing. And we do have the Google reCAPTCHA form that's built in. So those are some of the things that we're
We
doing.
also get warnings on the admin accounts
Yeah.
for Google when we get phishing attempts and when we get people attempting to log in who aren't the people who are supposed to be logging in. So,
Yes,
yeah,
we do. Yeah.
we track that regularly.
Cool. Other questions? Bueller? No, nobody?
Did everybody sign up for coffee and donuts? Right here. Put them on the phone.
Yes, that was my shameless plug for Zinda.
Also, you can sign up for the lecture list.
Yes, right.
Yes.
All on Sign Up Genius. All right, thank you very much.
Well done.
Okay.
A brief tech switcheroo. Kathy Stradiff is going to speak to us from our outreach committee.
One moment for the technology connection here.
Good morning. My name is Kathy Stradiff. I am chair of Outreach, St. Peter's Outreach. A little history on me. I've been a member of St. Peter's for about 28 years. And I have been a vestry member. I'm a Eucharistic minister, which a lot of you folks might see. And I want to talk about outreach today because we've become a significant program for St. Peter's. And I wanted to kind of explain how we work. I took over the chair in fall of 2025. And I replaced the wonderful Jillian Crook. And I have to give significant applause to her and recognition because she really built the outreach program into being a significant player in developing strong relationships with our nonprofit groups. She's sorely missed, but she gave me a wonderful outline to work with. So I am very grateful to her. I wanted to explain a little bit about how we work. We are an grant application process. So anyone is allowed to submit a grant to us. And we're given a budget, which I will talk to you in a moment about. And it's a voting process of the members of Outreach. So what we look at when we're looking at an application is how significant with our funding, how significant they would affect the population that they're asking money for. And we try to recognize San Diego, our local neighbors, but we also support significant folks that deal with people, migrants and refugees, whatever. So I can explain a little bit about that. In 2025, we supported 19 recipients. Our group of 10 people put in 2,500 volunteer hours. So we were very proud about that. I wanted to point, here is our budget for 2026. And we are given, if Heather can go down a little bit to see, we've been given $65,400 by the vestry, and we're very grateful for that support. And so then the applications come in, and as I told you, we look at the significance of their purpose, and then we go through the different applications, and we're able to fund as we see fit. We had about $85,000 in requests this year because a lot of federal grants have been changed or dismissed. We were not able to honor all that, but we were able to honor a piece of each application that came through. So you can see if Heather goes kind of up, down. Kairos is a ministry with the prison system in our area. Vita Hoven is very active, and it's an important organization that the diocese supports, and that is for orphanages in Tijuana. Camp Stevens, we pretty much all know about. NAMI, I think we pretty much know about. And they will be with us in, I believe, April, right? And we want everybody to go on the NAMI walk this year. Refugee Net is one of our organizations that does deal with refugees. Generate Hope is an incredible organization that cares for women that have been sexually trafficked. It's amazing. They give them a whole new identity. They give them a safe place to live. They retrain them. They teach them skill set education. They have tremendous psychological support. And eventually, the hope is that they will be able to re-enter society with skills and potential more education. So this is a huge group that we really support. St. Mark's, City Heights,
is another big church that's involved in supporting their community. And we support their pantry mainly and some of their operational needs. North County Showers, we all know about that. It's huge. We support that. We have members of our committee that are very active in actually volunteering there. And we want to thank Alan Dorsey for really beginning that process. Beacons, I see that one of the new members of the vestry is the husband of the woman that started Beacons. And that is for neurodivergent adults who have dated out of the public education system. We do a lot. We have Beacons students every week. We teach them a lot of skill sets and another incredible program. ESC is Episcopal Community Services. CRC is Community Resource Center, and they're super active all in North County. PACE is another North County, well, they have facilities in all areas of San Diego, but we are funding their North County facility. Interface Shelter, another incredible program, and we need a new leader for next year, so if anyone's interested. United Cerebral Palsy, Krista, our manager of the thrift shop, is very involved in that. And we took that on because it truly helps many members of our local area. Foundation for Fighting Blindness, we were happy to collaborate with the senior group this year. And we had a marvelous luncheon, and we had one of their lead researchers give information. And we might possibly try to collaborate again with the senior group, and possibly with other things. That turned out to be a nice marriage for both groups. Winston School is a private school that meets the needs of educational and social needs of students that they're not being met in public education. Now, I'm a retired teacher, 30 years, so I'm pretty informed on that. And we try in public education to meet the needs of most students. But Winston is another alternative for some students. They also have job skill training in the thrift shop. So that kind of gives you a brief piece of what we're offering this year. It is a grant application process, and we decide on the effect and the impact they will make on the population that they're asking to be funded for in supporting. So that's important, that the greater impact, we look at the impact of the actual grant. And we are very grateful for the money, as I said, from the vestry. And go backwards just one more minute. It doesn't show on that. We have a donation table every month that highlights 12 of our nonprofits for the year. And I really applaud St. Peter's because the donations have been incredible. So the nonprofit doesn't just get the grant for that month, but they get donations, and it's been significant. And we are very grateful to the St. Peter's Parish for that. So now we can move to who's on outreach. At the present time, this is our team. We're hardworking. We meet once a month. And any of you, if you are interested, we'd love to have new members. We're always interested in new members, new insight. And that's our email address. And thank you for giving me time here. We wanted to start being a little more transparent with how we spend our money in outreach. And if you have any questions, see me at the door. Be happy to answer. Thank you.
Thank you to Kathy and the outreach team. Rick, I see your hand.
Hi, I just wanted to speak as a representative of one of the beneficiary organizations in the National Labs of Mental Illness, how much this means to us. We don't just think of this as a donation that we receive. We think of St. Peter's as a partner in our work. And the way that most frequently gets invoked in our office is about once or twice a week, someone calls asking me how they can donate furniture, clothing, or items to support the work that NAMI does. We don't have a capacity for receiving that. And I say, would you please make a donation to our partners at St. Peter's, their thrift store. They support not just NAMI, but the community. So this has really been a great benefit to us. The other thing I'll tell you is that within the Episcopal Diocese, the support of St. Peter's has added credibility to our work, so that organizations like St. Michael's in Carlsbad, they also look at that and say, well, this must be a trusted, reliable organization, because we know the outreach committee here at St. Peter's has vetted it. So it means a lot, not just to me, but to all of the beneficiary organizations. So thank you.
Thanks for that insight, Rick. And now over to Heather, who has a report on our financials for 2025 and our budget for 2026.
Okay. I'm Heather Vaden. I am the comptroller at St. Peter's. I have been here 10 years, which I can't believe. It's crazy. It's gone really quickly. So anyway, 2025 was a great year financially. Hold on, I skipped one. Okay. Our total revenues and transfers were $1,623,155, and that's above a plan of $1,554,000, so well above plan. Our expenses did equal our revenue by a designated fund transfer at the end of the year. We had $84,522 in operating income overage that we transferred to a designated fund and will carry over into 2026 to use for operations. Okay, so our revenue was, our parishioner giving was $6K below budget and $19,000 below the prior year. I know when I was thinking about prior year, I feel like it was all those funerals. Wasn't 2024 a huge funeral year? Yeah. But we are projected to go up in 2026. We have a lot of new members and a lot of more funds coming in. Our thrift shop, crazy. $420,000 in sales. That's $60,000 above budget and prior year. So incredible job. Stop by and say hello to them in there. They're doing a great job. Our facilities use, rental, parking, and rectory rental, $164,513, and that was above budget. The rectory was rented for the whole year, and then our facilities rentals, that has been going really well. We have Faith Kearns is our front office person now, our office administrator, and she's really on top of the facilities rentals and getting that going. St. Peter's Senior Services gave $28,195, and then transfers from endowment for property, campus care, that is the upkeep around our property. We did a lot of HVAC this year and other things. And then our Rasmussen endowment fund, we transferred 4% out of that this year. That was $136,388 for operations. Okay, so this one is just ups and downs of what I was just talking about. Okay, sorry, back to outreach. No, back to outreach. Okay, so the gifts for outreach, like Kathy was speaking about last year, we had $65,248. And that represented 5.3% of the prior year's operating revenue. We calculated the same way we calculate the diocesan common life giving, which the diocesan is 10.5% that we give to the diocese. And then outreach, the monthly focus that Kathy was talking about on the patio, and then the giving jar at the thrift shop, that brought in another $28,864. And then there were donations directly to outreach, like people would specifically donate to the back to school, Camp Stevens, Feeding San Diego, we did at the end of the year. That was another $20,855. And then we had Helping Hands, which their distribution cost of food, supplies, and clothing was over $20,000 last year. So all in all, yeah, a lot of funding for outreach. Okay, this slide breaks down our expenses. So the actual expenses of $1,623,000, clergy, $271,000 of that, and then the lay staff, $580,000 of that. So over half is between clergy and lay staff. And then if you add music in there, music is the green one at $71,000. So that's basically our staffing cost. Property was another $216,000, and then our diocesan pledge $129,000. And then the other things fill in there to make the $1,623,000. And our assets at 12/31, $8,935,626. Our operating cash and money market. We have a reserve account at Schwab. And then our endowment, which we use for property, taking 4% out of it a year, is ended the year at $2,584,000. And then our Schwab Rasmussen account, other endowment, ended the year at $3,856,000. Yeah, and then these fixed assets book value, church worth $2,683,000, and the rectory $105,000. Okay, we're moving on to 2026. So as of now, yesterday, we have pledges in hand from 134 members or households for $585,381. This is down from last year of $607,000 from 157 members. But from now till whenever, pledges do come in. So that 607, that was not the number I spoke about at last year's annual meeting. And we're moving on to budget. We're fairly confident that, wait, I don't want to be there, revenue. We're fairly confident that our parishioner giving is going to be up this year. We have budgeted $748,000, which is a $54,000 increase. We've looked at it and we feel confident. We're using the endowment transfer of $88,084, 4%. Rasmussen account, we're taking $166,064, and that's 4.75 of the Rasmussen account this year. The performance of that account was large last year, and we feel the vestry feels okay taking that extra 0.75%. And that operating overage is budgeted to use in 2026, the $84,522. And okay, we're assuming that the thrift shop will move from $420,000 to $427,000 as a 1.7% increase. SPSSC grant is up a little bit, 29. Facilities, parking, and rectory up 3%. And then the diocesan common life share pledge that's going out is up 7% based on the revenue from the 2024 findings. Outreach total is budgeted to be $113,422. It's calculated the $65,422 that Kathy spoke about. Helping Hands, another $24,000, and Giving Jar direct donations, $24,000 going out. The budget includes a 3% cost of living for most staff members and some other adjustments. And we did have the adjustment of moving Madeline, Rev Madeline, to clergy from lay staff. Yeah. And then, yeah, the property spending, an increase of 10% for repairs, campus care. Okay, so then how the expenses look, the breakdown for 2026, it's similar with the staffing being a large portion. And that's really all I had. Are there questions or comments? All right, thank you. Thank you. Oh, we do have a question. Dan,
I'm sorry, I do have
no problem.
questions and observations here. It's pretty clear we're, I would say, hitting on all cylinders here, and it's a great moment in time. And I think it's testimony to our leadership, Mother Page, Heather, and
Oh,
Vestry over the years, really. I mean, we've moved to a budget of almost 1.8 million, which is not trivial. I think even relative to our past, and I think relative to a lot of churches around this diocese as well. But being I'm now a certified card-carrying old guy, this sort of comfort makes me uncomfortable. If that, I know that doesn't make full sense, but when I look at the budget, it just on the big numbers here, I have a question about the transfers
Okay,
from our endowments.
yeah,
If that's an awfully big number in my view, as just absolute number, again, as a percentage of our budget. And I see you've got some words there, but we've got almost $400,000 being transferred out of, I'll call them endowments. Maybe it's not the exact word for, I noticed you have Rasmussen account transfer. I don't know if that's an endowment or.
it
is an endowment.
It is now
right?
an endowment. It was
Right.
made an endowment in
Right.
2025, yeah.
Things are good now, and it makes me a little nervous taking so much money out of endowments that, in my view, are sort of there for hard times when we take them out. Just to take it out as a regular part of our operating budget year after year, especially this number on your sheet here of almost 400,000 is greater than those two.
Okay.
So
So,
specifically then, where's the rest of that?
okay,
Why are we continuing to take this much out when we don't need it for hard times? And maybe that's the wrong view, but that's kind of my view. And are there constraints beyond what we see here? Are there additional wording on the 4% and the 4.75% to modify our withdrawals from that during, when needed or something like that, not just as a comfortable transfer year after year? Thanks.
so the endowment transfer for property, we do not transfer that until it's spent. So if we don't do property improvements next year, we will not transfer that money out of the endowment, the one that's the 88,084. The Rasmussen endowment account, that is the one that is, where is my, okay, so that came in as a $3.2 million endowment. With the great market that we've had, it is at 3.856 at the end of 2025. So the 4%, like taking 4% from these endowments is per Gary Rice, per the investment it's like standard, and it is conservative that you should be able to draw out 4% without ever touching your corpus or, draining down your endowment. The 4.75, so going up 0.75, That is unusual. We will not, if we don't need it, we won't spend it. But it's, yeah, the vestry voted on it to go up to 4.75 this year, and that all is for operating. Do you want to talk now?
Yes.
Okay, Rick.
And let's use the microphone so that people at home can hear you. That'd be great.
I think your points are well made, well taken, and we really appreciate that. One of the things that I would remind people is the percentages are actually more important than the numbers themselves. Because the idea is that if you can take a percentage out that's less than the investment gain percentage, you're actually growing the money even while you're using that. I am not a sophisticated investor by any means, but where this comes into place in the work that I do is this. The IRS requires private foundations that are not operating programs to distribute at least 5% of their assets every year. Because the IRS projects that over a significant amount of time, 30 years, most funds grow on average about 8% a year. So if in a single year you distribute 5%, you still had more growth. So when I was on the vestry, when I was senior warden, and in my role of personnel committee, I said, as long as we could stay below what the IRS requires foundations to do, we're exercising very good long-term financial prudence. But we do have to be aware of that. You know, one of the things that was great is the last couple of years, the investment gains have been tremendous. Those of us who are getting closer to retirement, like me, are now thinking about moving those heavily stock-driven portfolios into something a little bit more secure, because it won't always be like that. But over time, especially over the last 30 years, it's averaged a gain of between 6 and 8% a year. So if we take less than 4 and 4.75, I think it's a very prudent and wise thing to do. And then the other thing too, which was clear when I was on the vestry, when I was senior warden, if we don't need to take the money out, we're not taking it out just to take it out. That, in fact, I think the first year we did Rasmussen, it was only taken out on a quarterly basis.
Yeah.
So both good points, and it's something that we're looking to grow over the long term. Is Dan Malden here?
He's not.
In recognition of him, we are not going to eat our seed corn. Dan, that was for you, if anyone.
I also wanted to say to Dan, so the transfers, it's that endowment transfer, it's that Rasmussen transfer of 166. It's also that 84,000 that's under there, the 84,522. We're also transferring 24,000 from Helping Hands. And then there's another 26,000 that is like an overage from 2024. So I think that's it. But if there's more, I'll let you know. But that should get you close to the whole transfer amount.
I just wanted to add that there was a lot of discussion at the vestry. I don't think we should sweep this by without talking about it. There was a lot of discussion where I think everyone's aware of the point you're making, and where if push will come to shove is in a year where the endowment hasn't gone up by 8%. I think that'll be a larger discussion. When if it's only gone up 3%, then okay, now what are we? Yeah, that's going to be a larger issue.
The question is, should we, and how much? And again, my perspective is, I was a senior warden in hard times 15 years ago. Okay, when we needed those funds and had to stop taking transfers because of the risk of running out of money. So, it's just a seed corn thing, and that's all I'm saying.
And it is
I guess a question, lady, on that. To Dan's point on hard times, how much of campus care here is the main lane, which is kind of a generational cost that presumably we won't have to incur? That's coming up. All right, so
it's not.
we're looking forward to that. All right.
Not included in any of my numbers is the 14th Street Maiden Lane.
But that's an amazing segue, Charlie.
There.
Are there other, I want to acknowledge, thank you, Dan, for reminding us. It's why it's good to have lots of senior wardens in the room. I also will let you know, we spent a lot of time intentionally talking to people who are close to Rosemary and Carson Rasmussen. When they gave us that bequest at the time of Rosemary's death, we wanted to make super sure that when we put that money to work, we were doing so in a way that people who knew and loved Carson and Rosemary thought they would approve of. Now, there were no strings attached. They didn't tell us how to spend that $3.2 million. But the overwhelming sense of people who knew Carson and Rosemary well was that they would want the money doing ministry, that they wouldn't want it simply to be socked away in case it was needed sometime, but that at least the part that was growing above and beyond the corpus would be put to work and doing God's work in the world. And so that's why the directions around how that endowment is used is slightly different than our original endowment for that exact purpose, trying to do our best to honor as best we could what Rosemary and Carson would have wanted. So forever and ever and ever. So we're trying to do it in a way that's very sustainable as well. If there are no more questions for Heather, I believe that our next item is actually David Ann's. But Heather, I want to thank you. One of the reasons people are willing, I've said this before, one of the reasons people are willing to trust us with their hard-earned money is because they know we're going to use it well. They trust us to use it as they intended, and that's because of your hard work. So thank you, Heather.
Thank you. Thank you. Here? Here. Okay, so yours is a PDF. Yeah.
So it's a PDF, so it should be, there we go.
So with a pretty picture. Sorry. Sorry.
Okay, thank you so much. Pat's actually the one running this project. I'm just the person on the vestry that somehow got volunteered to work with you. So the two of us will talk about this. But what we're talking about is the 14th Street renewal. Renewing the front door to be more welcoming, creating welcoming and inviting pathway into our community property, properly reflecting the love and hope we find here. So what does that mean? So a lot of people don't go to the 14th Street entrance, and there's a reason. Because you might fall off a walkway that's broken, or you might not see it and think you're walking into a jungle camp. But this is the 14th Street entrance as it exists today. Very hard to see what St. Peter's is, where it is, and what it stands for. And so what Pat has so amazingly worked on is this, which is the future state. Do you want to say anything about it?
Yeah, Abigail actually started this.
Speak right into it.
Okay, Abigail, does that work?
Like a micro ice cream.
Don't know. Abigail actually started this, hired an architectural firm to come up with this design. A lot of input from a lot of people. There's a couple minor changes in this that were driven by parishioners asking us to do a few different things. And a little history. In over 20 years here, I think this is the third plan I've seen to do something with this side of the church. And this is by far the most beautiful design I've seen. It takes care of several problems for us, some large, some small. These retaining walls replace a bunch of rocks that were stacked up there many, many years ago. By volunteers, comes around here. One of the things I noticed when we have memorial services, we have a lot of people come in this direction because
our address shows 14th Street. And then, so we opened these doors on the 14th Street side more. And during the heavy rain, I was watching all of the drainage from this and was actually shocked when I saw all the water from the roof come and then come underneath the church. And where it goes, no one knows. But that all will be corrected with this. We'll have more space where we can use it for different
I like that
groups.
walkway is now
Yeah.
like
And the big change we've made is we've redone this to have a walkway that comes around here that gives a nice western exposure, nice views out there to come into the church. Also, we're not sure of where all the water lines and everything are under here. So if there's anything that needs to be upgraded, we will do that. The one big unknown is processing through the city of Del Mar. And we've been at it for how long? I was a young man, and we don't know what they're going to require us to do. We have a pretty good idea. We're in for our second plan check. We have no idea how many plan checks they want to have, and they really don't know. So, and I don't say that, I mean, because the staff is working, you know.
Talk about the handicap access that is much easier to get to. Go down one. Yeah.
go back.
Yeah, on the far right.
And far right is all handicap access.
Yes, this is all handicap access. We sit in the north transept, south transept, and I hate this entrance right here. So when we get in to do this thing, we're gonna have to do something a little bit nicer right there. We don't want to change it with the city, and they won't care one way or the other, but we're gonna make that look a little bit nicer than it is right now. Also, we see these railings, none of them are legal anymore for handicap, and we watch people who need the railings struggle, and we're gonna fix up a lot of things, rain gutters along this whole side. So there's a lot of stuff going on.
Thank you, Pat. So very exciting. Like we said, the plans are submitted to the city of Del Mar, waiting approval. Hoping to start constructions for this spring, and that would be a completion date in the fall of 2026. Keep our fingers crossed. Should I do the video flyover of those pictures? Okay. Yeah, do you know where you have it on there? Will this run?
Yeah.
Okay. This is just a video rendition of it.
This is how the Holy Spirit gets in.
Anyway, there's the video. So, oh, sorry. A really fantastic design. Pat and Abigail and the team have done an amazing job, and I just think it'll be transformative, really, to the visibility of the church and what we stand for in the community. So the goal is to raise $600,000 by June 1st, 2026 for this project. And the good news is we've already surpassed $300,000 in pledges. And we're just launching today, so that's great. So please pray about your participation in this event. Pray about the grace, hope, and belonging you have found here, and are called to extend this welcome to others seeking the same. Invite the Spirit to guide your generosity. And we do have a handout if
Where's the QR code?
Oh, that's right.
Under 14th Street. Won't miss it. Does everybody have one of these? Anyone need a question?
Yes, question.
Well, 300,000 more in 6 months is a big goal.
Move up the mic, I can't hear you.
That's really talking right in.
Go right in your mouth.
Yeah, like an ice cream cone.
Okay, 300,000 is a lot to raise in the next 6 months, barely 6 months. Would this not be an appropriate place to put some of the Rasmussen money? Because it's going to perpetuate and it's going to increase the value of the property. It would be well spent, and it might be easier to reach the 600,000 goal sooner.
I mean, to Dan's just recent point, I think we'd like to avoid it if we can. So, yeah, I'm going to let Paige answer that.
No, you did a great job. You did a great job answering it. If we were to draw from endowment funds, Rasmussen wouldn't be the place to do it, because Rasmussen is targeted for operations, actual ministry happening day to day to day. It might be the regular endowment, which is not entirely restricted to buildings and grounds, but tends to be where St. Peter's spends that money. We are hoping that we can. We have more than 50%. In fact, I think we're more like 320, over 320,000. So we're starting with well over 50%, which is great. These pledges can be payable over 3 years, so they don't all have to be payable before we start making things happen in June. And in the past, when we've had, like, think about our solar project that we put in 2018, I think. We loaned ourselves the money from our endowment, and we've been paying it back. I think we're almost done. We're almost there. We're so close to being totally paid off. We paid ourselves interest, in fact. If we had to close a gap, I would imagine us doing something like that. I wouldn't imagine us taking the funds without that kind of payback intention. But I want to see what we can do. I want to see what we can do together. We had someone come to the 8 o'clock for the first time today. God love her. She came in the south door on the name. I don't know how she found it, but people shouldn't have to work that hard to come meet Jesus here, right? So I'm hoping that we can indeed think about what we can give over a 3-year period, and think about how generations before us had hoped to make a change. Maybe we won't have to kick this one down the road, and we can make sure that for generations to come, people can find us and find the welcome and love we have. But thank you in advance. Dan, I see your hand, friend.
Yes, where, out of curiosity, where did the 600,000 come from?
Would Pat like to speak to that?
Yes. Well, yes, we made a budget up, and we have put this out to bid based on preliminary drawings. And so it's almost a goodwill thing for the subcontractors to give us numbers, because we know that it's not going to be exactly the same. So they're helping us. So virtually every number has been bid out. And I'm to several people in a lot of cases. But we will refine those numbers, and we'll see what we can. Big unknown is if the city comes up and wants us to do, as part of our job, actually repairs for them. which happens at times. So we're comfortable with that number.
And when you look at how much retaining wall there is, that's why, that number starts to creep up.
That's right.
Retaining wall is very expensive.
Particularly high, that's why.
Yeah.
Thanks
Hopefully
be
it's
to
at
God. Yeah.
No. We wanted
700. It was 700.
Paige,
You want to pass?
one other point I was going to say is when you think about it, even the 15th Street side is not exactly welcoming or easy to see or find. So this will probably become the place for people to discover the church.
With lots of big signs that point towards the parking over there. Yes, Debbie?
No, that's getting repaired. The pathway.
Yeah, the original design did not have a walkway going across the front, but Pat and the team have worked to restore that access. So people could show up on 14th Street and walk around and find the patio without having to climb over anything, get out their grappling hooks, So our kids can run in circles. It's going to be amazing. Okay, friends, now it's my pleasure to introduce you our senior warden, Cinda Lucas.
We have had an incredible year, and I hope that you have an opportunity to read my full report, because I think it says a lot of what we are grateful for in our parish, in our lay staff, in our priests. We have just had such incredible opportunities presented to us. And as I started with my comments, love is truly the answer and the key to what makes St. Peter's great. We are welcoming. We are warm with everyone that comes through the door. We had some new people even today. And we have new people all the time. And it is up to each and every one of us to welcome them with open arms and to find out what really fascinates them and interests them, and encourage everybody to volunteer. Of course, I'm particularly partial to coffee and donuts volunteering and lecturing volunteering. But the other thing, as Mother Page mentioned today, is we would love to have a Lenten program and have Sooth presented as we've done in the past. We didn't do it last year, but we've done it up to that time. And I think it helps us with building our faith to understand why all of these things are coming about. Our forums are getting bigger. We love that. And what we might do is a similar thing where we have video presentations during the Lenten time, followed by being together with one another and enjoying one another. And that's why we've brought back a lot of things that we lost for a while. The supper club, lunch club, the Oktoberfest, spaghetti night. All of those things bring us closer together and it gives us an opportunity to get to know each other better. Just being in the courtyard is wonderful, and we love seeing the kids and we love seeing each other and greeting, but to spend quality time with a person makes a difference. We hear what is important to them, and I have learned so much from the people in my personal supper club. I'm just incredibly amazed, and I liked them before, but now I truly love and appreciate where they've come from, all of the things they've mastered along the way. And that's what we do here at St. Peter's, is that we work together. We don't always have to agree about everything, but we work together for the good of the whole. And I encourage each and every one of you to get involved in whatever is interesting to you. because that's what makes our congregation the strongest it can be. Thank you.
I hear the bells, so I will not race through this, but moving right along. Dear ones, what a remarkable year 2025 was. In many ways, it was a hard year to be a human being in the world. From the fires in January of last year to the political challenges and violence in our country and around the world. Our hearts have been broken many times in 2025, but in times like these, we yearn to come together, find meaning, purpose, and a connection with the divine. This year, we all yearn for a transformed world and came together here at St. Peter's to seek transformation for ourselves so we could bring that transformation out into God's creation in the name of Jesus. This year, we saw increases in membership and attendance across generations. Our seniors ministry and ministry to youth, children, and young families all welcomed new programming, which were wonderfully and enthusiastically received. And don't take my word for it. I encourage you to attend a community lunch with our more mature members, or swing by on a Wednesday evening to enjoy vibrant lighthouse ministry, or glance into the youth room on a confirmation preparation Sunday and see our young people come together to explore their faith more deeply. Of note, 2025 brought us the ministry of Madeline Paulhill. Having a full-time pastoral staff member with her considerable gifts has been transformative, and it will be very fun indeed to see God at work through her ministry in her ordained life. In addition, because of the challenging times in which we find ourselves, new ministries also arose. This includes the ministry of walking with immigrants through their immigration process, accompanying them to immigration court, ICE appointments, and green card interviews. A beautifully diverse group of St. Peter's parishioners has engaged in this ministry in the world. This brings Jesus' witness of mercy and love into places where it is desperately needed and where people frankly do not expect such mercy and love coming from Christians. Christianity has a bit of a brand management challenge these days. Our witness is introducing seekers to the life-giving, liberating way of love that we know in Jesus here in the Episcopal Church, and I am so grateful. 2025 felt like the year we could really say we were out of the pandemic. In 2024, our average Sunday attendance was 165. In 2025, it was 190. Yay. On a recent weekend in 2026, it was 218, friends. This was the weekend after Renee Nicole Good was killed by an ICE agent in Minneapolis. So we can find some light in the darkness of that week, realizing that people who were hurting and deeply troubled knew where to come, where to find the grace, mercy, and love of Jesus in community right here at St. Peter's. Speaking of other measurables, 2025 was also a very strong year financially, and Heather has told you all about this in her report, and I commend you to go ahead and pick up the annual report and look at those numbers more closely. Because of your generosity and incredible thrift shop, creative use of our facilities, and marvelous stewardship by our staff and lay leaders, we enter 2026 in a very strong position, and we are blessed with financial stability. It is so important that we appreciate how extraordinary this is and not take it for granted. Friends, there are so many churches out there that wish they were having this annual meeting, and they are not. In 2026, we anticipate continuing to grow our ministries to and by disciples of all ages, a renovation of the community-facing southwest corner of our parish property, and deeper transformation through the power of the liberating, life-giving love of Jesus. On a very personal note, this very day, February 1st, marks the 29th anniversary of my ordination to the priesthood. I know. Astonishingly, as I begin the 30th year of my priesthood, I'm so grateful to be able to do this beautiful, challenging, and life-giving work with you. Thank you, dear members, leaders, and incredible staff and clergy for this privilege and opportunity to share this ministry of being God's people in this time and in this place. As I said in a sermon in 2025, it is not an accident that we are here now and not in some simpler time. God needs us to be God's people in this world and in this time, and I'm glad to be here with all of you. I want to take a moment to thank those who have retired from ministry in 2025. Andrea Maringer retired as the leader of Helping Hands and our lector coordinator. You've heard that Jillian Crooks retired both from vestry and outreach. Suzanne Bevish retired from her coordinating Interfaith Shelter, the Interfaith Shelter kitchen. Fran Friesen as Sunday school superintendent. Our vestry retirees this year included Rick Ochaki, Jillian Crooks, Charlie Coffey, Pat McCardle, and Joseph Rodenheiser, and also Winnie Holbrook. Now we have a fun tradition, but I don't see Pat Carson in the room. Oh, there you are. You're in the back. Okay, good, because this was not going to be the same without you, Pat. Okay, who's been here for 1 year or more? Let's stand up and get some circulation going. 1 year or more, that means everybody, right? Just about everybody. Maybe not. Maybe not. We've got a couple of new people. If you've been here 5 years or more, remain standing. So if you've been here less than 5 years, please sit. Or less than 10 years, please have a seat. Less than 20 years, please sit down. 25. And 30. 40. Significant birthday this year, Lee? 45. And 50. 55. 60. 65. 65? Oh, wow. And that leaves Pat Carson as the last woman standing. But that also means, for those of you who were sitting longer than you were standing, you got a chance to see who the real torchbearers have been in our community over many years. Don't hesitate to ask them questions. Ask them their stories. If you hear a reference about something and you're not familiar with what they're talking about, take a moment and ask them to tell you the story behind this sort of shared knowledge moment you see passing between members who've been here longer. I promise you'll hear a great story that you'll want to treasure as well. I would like us to adjourn with one more song, and it's a song that typifies one of the graces we've experienced here. And I want to invite our youngest members to come up with Mr. Adam to come sing My Lighthouse. And you should have the lyrics with you as well.
My